Welcome back. Again, government will deliver pro-business stimulus in the midst of COVID-19. The government will immediately distribute tourism grants amounting to 3.3 trillion rupiah for tourism businesses and local governments. The government will immediately distribute tourism grants amounting to 3.3 trillion rupiah for tourism businesses and local governments. Budget contains some targeted actions to help tourism business where hurting the most. The grant will be used to support increased implementation of health protocols in tourist destinations, as well as help the tourism industry survive the pandemic. Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy Wisnutama Kusbandio in his statement said that tourism grant funds through the Ministry of Finance are part of the National Economic Recovery Program. From all sources, IDX Channel. 2020 is kind of an alarming year for all countries because of the emergence of the outbreak called the coronavirus or COVID-19. This outbreak is a concern for the world because many aspects are affected, such as tourism. Government puts high efforts to help restart vital reconstruction work and maintenance on cherished heritage sites, keeping venues open and supporting those working in the sector. Those actions requires huge budget, right? Therefore, government has set aside trillion rupiah and grant funds for the tourism sector. What's the purpose? Where does the fund come from? And let's see the answer in the next graphic. This is the explanation or the detailed explanation about government's grant funds for tourism sector. As a part of National Economic Recovery Program during COVID-19, the total of it as much as 3.3 trillion rupiah. The proposed are increasing regional income and financial recovery for hotel and restaurant. We compiled the data from Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy. In short, government has set aside 3.3 trillion rupiah to be distributed to the state's tourism promotion and development to assist in resuming business operations and restoring economic activity throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Not only for the businesses, government also highlights needs for the regions. And let's see the proportion through the next graphic. This is the proportion of grant funds for tourism. 30% of it will be allocated for economic and social handling and of regions. Meantime, 70% of it will be allocated for direct assistance to tourism and creative economy. And if we see through the data, tourism sector has larger portion. The reason is the tourism industry can be defined as an industry involving humans as its main commodity. Therefore, some aspects like hotels, restaurants, airlines, and travel agents who relied on their revenues from tourists suffered a crisis because of this spread of coronavirus. And it is sad because Indonesia is one of the world's premier tourist hotspot. The white sand beaches, tropical climate, beautiful mountains. As the country attracts many tourists, many people in Indonesia depend on tourism sectors. Therefore, the government's grant really matters to the tourism business actors. And however, not all business actors that can get the grant as there are certain requirements. So who are the eligible ones to get the grant? Let's see the next graphic. These are the list of eligible recipients of grant funds for tourism. The first one is pay 15% tax of hotels and restaurant, 5 super priority destinations. And it will be targeted to 10 priority destinations and included to 100 calendar or event in 2020. And given the uncertain times created by the coronavirus, of course, tourism business actors are grateful to have the grants. The Ministry of Tourism has also prepared a budget of 119 billion for the free certification program for the tourism industry in 34 provinces in Indonesia. The certification is given to ensure cleanliness, health, safety, and environmental sustainability for industries related to the tourism sector to restore public trust. Tourism sector has to bleed further because there are still large-scale social restrictions in some areas or some places such as Jakarta, for example. And we are still in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, and many countries are still implementing restrictions on tourism. And let's see how far the tourism sector has plunged so far in the next graphic. This is the performance of tourism in July 2019 and 2020. So the total of the tourist arrivals in July 2019 as much as 1.4 million people. Meantime, in July 2020, it only reached 159,800 tourists, or it down by 89.12%. And the good thing is the number of visits increased slightly by 0.95% compared to June 2020, although it has been increasing on a monthly basis. Head of Statistic of Indonesia, Suharyanto, said that foreign tourist visits are still very limited. The majority of foreign arrivals are dominated by business purposes, not leisure. And it is absolutely right that tourism sector should be a priority during this COVID-19 pandemic. And this grant support by government is very crucial. Stay tuned on Market Lines because we'll be right back after the break.